So in November, another major election will be happening here in the United States. The vast majority of you who watch my channel already live in the US, so you probably already know this. Or if you live in a country that has a lot of American news and whatnot in it, because I know a lot of countries in Europe, they keep up with like US politics and whatnot, and I think that that just kind of adds to my point that I'll be making. But yeah, in November we'll be voting for president again. Happens every 4 years, you know, it's something that's pretty commonplace. It's like the Olympics, right? You know, every 4 years we play American Idol or whatever it is, and we vote for whichever one's more popular to become the president of the country, okay? So this year, we have Donald Trump running again, trying to get reelected. He's been president since 2016 and again running on the Republican ticket. We got Joe Biden, the Democratic candidate, who was actually vice president during Obama's tenure, and of course there's other candidates like Joe Jorgensen, the Libertarian, and Kanye West, the rapper turned presidential candidate. Now, I feel like a lot of people don't really understand how important, really, the US presidential election is, because the United States is such an influential country around the world that, like, our politics now affect other countries' politics. Depending on who becomes president of the United States, that pretty much directly affects a lot of foreign relations. Because, you know, sometimes we like people who don't necessarily align with the values and principles and whatnot that other countries' leaders have. And so it kind of sways a little bit of the foreign relations and whatnot. And of course, it also determines, especially when they pick through their administration and whatnot, it really kind of affects how we handle a lot of world situations. If you've been paying attention, pretty much ever since Donald Trump was elected president, the relations that we have with primarily China, Iran, and Russia, they have gotten a lot worse because they don't like anything that Trump is doing. They don't like the way that he handles things, and they think that, well, his interests do not align with theirs whatsoever. I mean, you see Trump doing these executive orders banning TikTok in 45 days and then going after Tencent's WeChat. China doesn't like that, man. China doesn't like when the US does things like that. So, and obviously with the killing of Soleimani from the Iranians, that's kind of upset them a lot. So, it's an important election cycle. Of course, will determine the political landscape of the country for the next 4 to 8 years, depending on how the election goes either way. But the unfortunate truth is that the presidential election is not safe. Now, I don't mean like it's not going to be safe to vote, because, I mean, I would say, honestly, in the United States, you probably have the best time voting in this country than you do in most countries that allow votes. I mean, you go to Russia, the government clearly tampers with the voting process, and if you don't vote for Putin, you're basically not getting your vote counted anyway, and if you do, they only count certain amounts of them. They don't have a very fair election process, and a lot of countries around the world, their voting processes are tampered with by the government or by outside forces. Some countries are so bad that, like, the cartels can have, like, actually kind of influence these kinds of things. Organized crime can get in between the votes, and they can help determine who wins the election based on who's going to be the most lenient against them. So, I mean, yeah, here in the US, like, the voting machines don't work a lot of the time because I don't know why, honestly. We have shitty machines, I don't know, but things like that. But I mean, I'd probably rather vote in the United States than most places, but that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is our election is already being tampered with by outside influences again. Now, this was a huge news story for years, okay? The potential Russian, I guess, influence against the 2016 election. U.S. security officials and intelligence agencies have already concluded that Russia interfered with the 2016 election. They have evidence that Russian hackers actually targeted the voting infrastructure in all 50 states here in the country, and they even targeted the Democratic National Committee. And that's already been basically confirmed. The intelligence is all there. We already know that for years now, Russia has been spreading political misinformation on the internet as well, through Facebook and Twitter and social media in general, sharing fake information, fake news as Trump and his supporters would call it, that creates, I guess, false political leanings in people sometimes, because obviously, you know, boomers especially, they'll get on Facebook or whatever. I don't know if you know any boomers who, like, use Facebook considerably. They'll see an article to be like, breaking news, Trump allows Godzilla to march through the streets of Los Angeles and eat people alive. We have a bunch of information that says that Godzilla has killed over 25,000. And dude, boomers believe it. Like, they share it to their Facebook, like, we really need to fix this country. It's a legitimate problem, man. And it's apparently happening again. Now, this time, the U.S. intelligence committees have found that it's not just Russia interfering this time around. When it came back to 2016, it was pretty much Russia. They've gotten the brunt of that, I guess, the blame, I guess, that can be put in that situation. But there's three major countries that are already trying to influence the US election for 2020, and they're doing it in different ways and for different groups. Now, Russia is one of those countries. Now, Russia, they're actually trying to get Donald Trump reelected. What they're doing, essentially, is they're trying to hurt the Joe Biden campaign. Presumably through misinformation on social media. That's a really good way, honestly, to sway people's opinions and perspectives on voting. The more false information that they feed to the general public here in the United States, the more that it's going to affect how they view certain people in the election. So Russia's trying to do so to basically weaken Joe Biden's attempts to try and, I guess, spread misinformation about Joe Biden because, honestly, they want Donald Trump back in office. Or at least somebody who's not Joe Biden. Now, the critical reason behind this seems to be because as vice president during the Obama presidency, Joe Biden was not really very cooperative with the Russians. They didn't really see eye to eye on a lot of things. And they're afraid that if he gets in office, his administration is going to be much stricter on Russia, or is going to negatively impact their self-interest and what they think needs to be happening in the world. Now, another country involved is China. Of course, now I feel like America already has like this, I guess, negative view of China because, first off, they're pretty communist. America historically is not a very commie-friendly country. Second off, there's a lot of fear towards the Chinese in the United States. Their economy is exploding. You know, our products, for the most part, are made in China. We owe a lot of debt to the Chinese. And, you know, it's a huge country. They've got like 4 times the population of the United States. There's a lot of fear of the Chinese in the United States. Or better to put it, maybe mistrust. People in the United States don't trust the Chinese government. Honestly, for good reason. I don't blame them. I personally don't trust the Chinese government. Now, China actually does not want Donald Trump to be reelected. As a matter of fact, China is trying to take steps towards, I guess, kind of countering Russia's push for Trump against Joe Biden. China wants Joe Biden elected. Or at least, they want Donald Trump voted out of office. Because, I mean, if you look at a lot of the stuff that's happened in the Trump presidency, China has definitely been affected by it. I mean, the trade wars that have constantly happened for years now. I mean, even just taking a look recently, right? The U.S. consulate in Houston getting shut down, and then the reaction that happened in China. Our take against Hong Kong being buried by that national security law, and our will, I guess, to make it a democratic area. And even more recently, the whole TikTok and WeChat thing, right? So, China doesn't like Trump because, I mean, to put it very simply, he doesn't really bend over to the Chinese at their own will. Donald Trump has stood up to China a lot historically. You can argue whether or not in good ways or bad ways, but he just historically doesn't really, I guess, let China get away with murder anymore, or ever. So, the third major country that's involved in all of this is Iran. Now, of course, the United States and Iran, they're kind of like sworn enemies in a way. We literally almost went to war this year simply because, well, let's be honest, we kind of dropped the Predator missile on that general. My mans was walking in IRL terminal thinking he was going to be safe, and we kind of dropped the kill streak on him, and they got a little mad, you know what I'm saying? It's understandable, like, we got your boy, I get it, right? You know, we got your boy, it happens, trust me. But obviously Iran does not like Donald Trump either. They don't like the current administration. They have a lot of problems with them. Now, they're probably going to be in the Joe Biden camp when it comes down to it. Actually, if you think about it back historically, of course, Joe Biden was Obama's vice president, and the Obama presidency, while they weren't just, you know, huggy-kissy with Iran, they were a little bit more cooperative than the Trump administration. As a matter of fact, I think it was actually the Obama administration that set up the nuclear agreement with Iran that was later basically destroyed by the Trump Foundation because they didn't think Iran was following their part of the bargain. So Iran probably is thinking, you know, yeah, Joe Biden gets in office, we probably can, you know, get him to do more things for us. We can probably get away with a lot more if he's in office. So these are the 3 major countries that are kind of getting themselves, I guess, wedged into the election process, and it shouldn't surprise you whatsoever. Because the truth is, in the age of information, where it's literally as easy to influence other countries' political elections as running a massive Facebook ad campaign that tens of millions of people see and believe because they don't do any extra research, you would expect countries to be doing this all the time. And let's keep it $1.50 here. The US is probably involved in essentially every single election on the planet at this point. I'm pretty sure the CIA probably has a file up on all the elections. And they're probably, of course, trying to get involved. I mean, when you look back at all of the invasions and wars and stuff that we fought literally over the political leanings of countries' governments and their leadership, it definitely wouldn't surprise me if the US government was trying to tamper with anything going on in any other country. Now, I don't think that excuses it though, and the problem is that I think Americans in particular don't do extra research on the internet. The truth is, most people on Facebook especially, they see some shit and it's like, you know, Donald Trump a lizard man? Donald Trump is an actual lizard, folks, and he eats babies. Donald Trump eats babies. Here's a picture of Donald Trump eating babies. People would believe that. People in the United States would believe that. I can't speak on the behalf of other countries. I don't know if people in Britain would believe if Boris was over there eating baby. I don't know, okay? But in the United States, that would be something that people believe. Because obviously, it's weird, right? Because we have all of the information that humanity has ever developed, right? That we've ever figured out within our pocket on Google. But people just simply don't give a shit. They read it and they just expect it to be true, and then they just go on with their day. And I'm guilty of this sometimes too. I mean, it's pretty hard sometimes to, I guess, distinguish between misinformation and reality, especially in the world that we live in today, man. But if you're watching this, man, you guys got to do more research about the political process. You got to figure out more about these candidates, because other countries are relying on you to not do research and then vote. They are relying on you to believe what you see online at first glance and then go out and vote. And that even goes with me, okay? I'm not in the pocket of the Russians. I can't go to China. I'm pretty much banned from the country because I've been critical of the CCP. I would be arrested the moment that I landed on a plane. But even my videos, man, you should always research just to double check. You know, I'm wrong sometimes, I'll say that, but I try to do as much research as I can personally before I say shit. But it doesn't always fix it, and that's the problem, because that's, I guess, one of the big spearheads into our election process that we see. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, gonna go research the political landscape, I guess, and see what I can figure out. And signing out.